Hey guys, Logan here, and we are going to get straight back into building that race engine in a second. There's a couple things I need to cover. So first one is our current race season has finished, so that means there is another ribbon for the garage door. The reason I bring that up is that means it is now the off season. I have pretty much all of winter to get this engine together and tested. I'm not holding my breath though that I'll actually be racing it this season. We'll just see how things pan out. And with that being said, we ended the last video with the lathe making a little bit of a mess with the new cooling system. So I have been busy off camera upgrading it thanks to our new channel sponsor, Prusa. So they've sent me their flagship 3D printer. This thing is the Core 1. It is ridiculous how fast and how accurate and all the different things this can do compared to my old Prusa Mini. It is the difference between a push bike and a super bike. This is the first print. We're doing a benchy and this thing's fucking mental.
If ADHD was a machine,
yeah,
I think this is it.
I'm very impressed. Very impressed. We're going to head over to the lathe and I'll show you what I've been working on, and then we can get to machining. And this is what I came up with. This is an acrylic screen on a 3D printed adjustable dovetail system, so I can move it around to where I want it and then tighten them up. So hopefully that'll be sufficient at keeping the coolant in the lathe instead of on the floor and on me. And for the wall, I have a stainless sheet. Now, I'm not entirely sure what I think of this. It is highly reflective, so I'm going to be standing at the lathe for hours talking to myself while I can also see myself, which is a little bit odd. So I may put a painting over this or something, we'll see. And with that being said, let's get to machining. So first we're going to bring this shaft and this one here as well down to final dimension, and then we're going to move on from there. Six to go. So apparently if you put the insert in wonky, there's a very small chance it'll make a really nice surface finish, but most of the time it won't. It was at this point I've realised the crankshaft has about 1/100 of a mil ovality to it. Not quite sure why that's happened. This one blunt. This taper should help bearing installation. This is the crankshaft so far. It is getting closer and closer to done. I've spent a whole bunch of time profiling the sprocket before I cut the teeth, because that was one thing I learned on the dummy sprocket is I profiled it after cutting the teeth and it left a terrible surface finish, which is not very desirable. So the big end is looking pretty good as well, and it's kind of a catch-22. Like, this needs to be bored out and hollow. There needs to be an oil gallery go through here. I can't do any of that while these are still on the crank, and I need to leave them on there because that is our dead center support for grinding the big end. So the next step is I'm going to take it out, I'm going to put it in the mill, and we're going to cut some teeth in the sprocket. For For those of you that have been watching a while, you'll remember when I got this dividing head. It was a little bit worse for wear, it was fairly rusty. I've stripped it, sort of cleaned everything, got rid of as much rust. Now the one thing that is not very good is the dead center. So it's running about 0.2 out, which is far too much for a dead center for what I'm about to do. If I use that how it is, the sprocket would be offset and the cam chain will be going tight loose, which is just going to break something and wear everything out really quickly. So I've been thinking, and I can't buy one because it's a stupid size, so I'm thinking I might be able to actually adjust this up to an angle that is the same angle as the taper and machine it in the mill with a carbide tipped cutter. So we'll see how we go. After a quick machine, it's not moving at all now. That's what we want to see. Now unfortunately I can't fudge my way through a nice quick adapter that's going to make everything super rigid, and I'm going to have to make one from scratch. So I have a bit of steel, it means all that's got to come back off and I've got to put the vise in. Great. 16.3. I learnt this machine the last crankshaft, and that is I want the minimum stick out humanly possible for this tiny wee end mill, and that should hopefully make it a bit more rigid. And there we are. This is what 2 hours of my life that I'm never going to get back is looking like. So it is pretty much ready for machining. I just need to bolt on the super shiny drive dog, which I'm pretty chuffed to actually put the time and effort into making it look nice. So yeah, just got to do that up and start machining that sprocket. Alright, that is the first tooth cut. Only took 11 minutes, and now we've got to wind it round to the next. So it's 2 turns plus 6 holes. 1, 2, and we go around to there, and then move that around to there. And back to it. It's about 2 hours later, and I'm being really careful because I really don't want to break the end mill on the last pass. Alright, that's the bottom of the valley done. Now I have to change tools and we can sort of start sorting out that tooth profile. There's a few wee burrs on these teeth, so I'm going to clean them up with the wire buff, and then I'm going to remove the more stubborn ones with a file, and then I can continue machining. So this worked really well to bring it to final dimension, but it felt incredibly illegal. Right, the moment of truth. Does a cam chain fit? And it looks like it actually does, so that's a relief. Now I just want to tidy up the peaks of these teeth because they are kind of quite square compared to the original sprocket. And to do that, I'm going to go from this quite steep bit on the left to this shallow bit. And there we are, that is the sprocket on the crankshaft, 99% done. I will do a little bit of tidying up on the lathe with some sandpaper later on. And so that was the second attempt at a sprocket, so I'm pretty chuffed with that. The first attempt obviously was on the practice crank, which is still a little bit square looking, and that was the goal, the original crank profile. So yeah, that's not too bad. So now I'm going to tidy up these crank webs. 50.37. 2.585. Remove. 2.5. 2.5. And that's the first side done. We've got a pretty nice surface finish, so I'm going to flip it to the other side, then I can clean up all of these ants because they are everywhere, including my pants. A bit of raw footage for you guys from the Northern Hemisphere. Jumped the gun a little bit on cleaning up because I actually have more mess to make, so I've got it square, now about to deck 4mm off the bottom. There we are. Now I actually only need to remove 2mm to get it down to a nice sharp point. So obviously it needs a little bit of deburring on a couple edges, and that extra 2mm of meat in the crank will leave a little bit more meat for those balance weight bolts to hopefully stop them coming off. Well, that was close. That edge cut straight through the sandpaper, almost into my glove. And there we are. This is starting to look like a crankshaft. Very happy with how it's coming along so far. Now there's a couple processes which I need to sleep on and figure out how I'm going to do them. Now one of them is this big end needs to be ground. A friend of mine was going to lend me a tool post grinder to grind this. He has that much crap strewn across that many containers and sheds that he cannot find it. So yeah, if you've got a tool post grinder you want to lend me or sell me, that would be very much appreciated. So the crank is going to have to wait until I get that. And so I have some stuff to make. And so I have some stuff to make with this new 3D printer. Now the first thing I need to make is a cam chain guide. So this one does not suit our cylinder head. This is the original FXR150 one. It is made of nylon. It has some steel reinforcement in the back. So let's get to designing and print out our first cam chain guide. As you can see, with the original cam chain guide, the sprocket is not in the right position because it is too fat. The first prototype is hot off the 3D printer, so I've made the end a lot thinner and I've put a bit more of a curve in it, which should hopefully take up some of that cam chain slack. And it was way too long. Version 2 is hot off the printer. So currently on cam chain guide version 4, and I am going to stick a bunch of pieces of plasticine to it and then sit it into position, and that should hopefully give me an accurate thing to measure so I can have the correct supports, so this isn't going to be crushed or deformed, similar to how the original has this support here halfway. Right, so let's smush these down. So hopefully I can copy that profile into the CAD and have it nice and supported. And with that, the design for the cam chain guide is now done. I have version 6 in the engine, which means with all these spare ones, I could pretend to be Wolverine if I wanted to. So I'm going to make the actual one out of nylon. So I have some black nylon here, which I'm going to load into the printer. Hopefully that's the same material as the original cam chain guides. And then I just got to swap out the build sheet for one that is designed for nylon and hit print. It is the next morning. I have the new nylon cam chain guide installed and it is looking pretty good. So it is holding the cam chain in the right position, and I've worked out that the cam chain is exactly 3 links too long, so I need to buy a joining link and yeah, shorten the chain. Now that was the second print. The first one, the print itself was perfect, and then I didn't know that it's still really hot when it finishes printing because it doesn't have the fan turned on. Which means if you try to remove it too early, it's all squishy and floppy and bendy, and it ends up like a banana instead of straight. And yeah, the other thing is I think I need to heat treat this as well by putting it in the oven at like 80 degrees for a few hours, and that'll make it even stronger and more wear resistant. So I'll probably do that with that one there and see how that goes. Now, those of you who are observant will have noticed that there is a barrel on this engine again, and that is because it is back from nickel silicone carbide plating. So that was thanks to Dino at NZ Cylinders. Now, he's done a bloody good job. It should do the business. Despite my crappy casting, I think it'll work just fine. They have a full machine shop for doing everything engine related. They have a CNC valve seat machine, they do the cylinder plating, they re-sleeve engines, they do everything you can imagine is to do with engines, so check them out if you need their services. And I think that's going to have to do it for today's video. Again, a massive thank you to Prusa for their amazing 3D printer. I have a lot of parts planned for that. It is a really cool piece of kit. And on that note, this has been Logan from the Motorcycle Forge. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.